It's not a bad idea to have a glug 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 on mic sometimes, just so people know where we're at.
That's true.
Actually, my favorite sound is your ice cubes tinkling sometimes. Like, it makes me so happy. I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm there with them.
Maybe I'll sprinkle that in here and there.
Welcome once again to Noah's Snark, where former religious types and current snarks take a look at religious media on its own terms.
My name is Hillary.
And I am Josh, a.k.a. Evolutionist.
Well, that's it. That's my favorite. I want that on a t-shirt.
That says that.
And today, given what I told you last week about recovering, we decided we should definitely bring in a professional.
Yes.
So we brought in you're a PhD, right?
No.
No?
No.
We're going to call you Dr. Cat.
We brought in Dr. Cat.
Everyone calls me doctor before, and I don't correct them.
Yeah, why would you?
I thought you were a PhD.
No. Masters.
No.
Masters. Okay,
Wasting
fair enough.
time with research.
Wait, are you graduates or masters? Yeah, that's what I thought. I don't know the difference. Don't be mad at me.
No.
Well, we brought in Professor Cat.
Yes.
To help us sort through this film. You can't, I don't know if you can hear the quotes, but I'm putting quotes.
I heard the quotes.
I saw and heard them.
I mean, I saw them, but I heard them.
Mm-hmm. So, Kat, this is the first time on the show.
My first time.
Do you want to say anything about yourself in particular? Especially regarding your religious background?
Oh, well, I was
But anything is fair.
Particularly raised religious. Mm-hmm. Like, we went to church when I was really little, and then Mom got mad at the patriarchy. Mm-hmm. So
I love your mom.
Then I didn't go to church until like 5th grade or 6th grade. Mm-hmm. And then we started going to the Episcopalian church, which was groovy.
Yeah.
So I've heard those are the fun churches. Experience with church has been incredibly groovy inside the perimeter of Atlanta, not outside the perimeter with all the other crazies. Like,
don't get cheeky.
I will get as cheeky as fuck if I want to, because our priest went to college, real colleges. And my youth leaders were gay, and I acolyted in their ceremony of commitment to each other through their ceremony of their commitment to God, because we couldn't call it a marriage.
Did you say acolyte?
Acolyte.
What is... I mean, I know what an acolyte is, but what is acolyting? So,
when you acolyte,
okay,
you're an acolyting. You dress up in the robes, and you carry the candle and the cross around. You're the little boys and girls around the church. But see, I went to a church, so girls were acolytes.
I don't trust anybody who is in a robe and carrying a cross.
Well, then you wouldn't have trusted me.
Well, that's my Halloween costume.
It's some bad images, if you ask me.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It was church, but it wasn't, like, it's kind of like, I don't know. It's one of those terms where I say church, and my concept of church is not what anyone else thinks church is.
That's absolutely true, and I'm also kind of jealous.
We get together and, like, compost and recycle and go on the AIDS walk, and I don't know what all these other people are talking about.
No, that's fine.
But that was then, and I go back like once or twice a year. I have a very ambivalent relationship. I like my church.
Mm-hmm. You consider yourself...
necessarily need religion.
Are they priests? The main, and an Episcopalian? What's the difference between Episcopalian and Catholic?
Well...
we don't have to get all the way into it, but...
No, to sum it up, we're a Catholic light. All the drinking, none of the guilt.
Gorgeous.
So we're high church like Catholic. Like, we're
Catholic
the incense
2.0.
and like the formality. But none of the feel bad about yourself or hate Catholic anybody. Church. There's like Catholics who are like, this sucks, let's go do this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's very English. So I love that.
So, Kat, do you consider yourself like a believer now and just like not...
No.
No?
I don't consider myself a believer, but I also don't care.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't actually matter.
Right.
I think that there is a higher being that is in charge of religion, that he totally understands doubt. And he wouldn't make us intelligent beings and have a problem with us being like, I don't know, I can't see anything. And it's just, there's too many religions in the world.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand how it can be like... The best I sum it up is, I think each religion is each different cultures trying to relate to the mystery that we don't understand.
That's exactly how
and I'm like, that, and whatever you want to do, that's great, do it. But I don't really have an interest in...
Anything else you want to mention? Do you have any projects?
I want to look more... I would like to know more about your science background.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Your credentials for today's episode.
Okay, for my credentials, I was always a science nerd. Mm-hmm. And then I went to Georgia Tech, and I did molecular biology and genetics. Mm-hmm. And then I went to Georgia State for master's to do microbiology because bacteria are the best thing in the whole wide world, and you can learn everything from them, which I'll bring up later in our evolution episode.
Yes.
Okay.
But my research is basically bacteria that degrade compounds of petroleum from oil spills because bacteria can solve the world.
You're the coolest lady.
You're the coolest. You are literally a professor.
Yes, and I'm a professor.
A frustrated professor.
Very,
Underpaid. Underutilized.
Very frustrated professor.
So we got that out of the way. Let's talk about the movie. And I want to start with just the name. You know, it's A Matter of Faith.
Yes.
As we talked
Available
about
on
last
Netflix
week.
if you want to sit in the pain with us.
Yes, go watch it, then come back to this.
But
No,
don't watch it without a drinking game.
That's true.
Ooh, drinking is a great idea for that.
This movie opens us up, me and Hillary especially, but also Kat, to another important part of the Christian media canon. We've covered David A.R. White. We've covered part of the apologetic book canon with The Case for Christ. We've done the Left Behind franchise, which is massive, as we know.
Love those episodes.
And now we're going to find out who the Cristiano Brothers are.
Oh, okay. So these are names.
These are the
I didn't realize
directors,
there's a conspiracy.
writers of this movie.
Cristiano Brothers?
They are probably, obviously, a pair of brothers who make many Christian movies, and they're almost universally hilariously bad. I chose this one because we had a stray biologist on hand.
We found her in the streets, mumbling to herself.
Probably gesticulating angrily at plastic bottles and trash cans.
Grumble, 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 grumble.
And this sort of thing is the Cristiano Brothers' whole shtick. With this first examination of the Cristiano Brothers, I'm reasonably sure we have covered most of the big players in Christian media.
Okay. So this just rounds out.
That's right. First things first. Does anyone have any first impressions? What they expected going in?
Oh, yeah, no, this was totally, because I know you guys do media, and it's more like movies and books and stuff, but I thought it was going to be like a documentary where people are like, well, this is why evolution is not the thing. And
One
so
day.
I had textbooks, I had things next to me, I was like, all right, bring me some facts, and all of a sudden there's a little girl next to a river, and I was like, what?
This is a movie.
So I was like, because I was like, oh, cool, it's going to be like something pseudo-intellectual that I can debate against. And no, it was complete palaver that I had to fucking sit through.
So, are you still my friend?
Actually, yeah, because like I said, I didn't know any of this crap was out there. Love.
Hillary, did you have any first impressions?
Not really. I had an idea of what we were getting into because this is something that this is no surprise to me.
At this point.
This is what we've been dealing with.
Point.
That's why I'm saying. Like, and my actual very first reaction was seeing Harry Anderson's name come up in the opening and be like, "Oh, rest in peace."
This is his last movie.
He just died.
What?
This is his last movie.
I know. Did you watch Night Court?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's dead.
He's dead.
And he's in this movie, and it was his last movie.
Harry.
I know. This is the last thing.
So
on
I
his
guess
IMDb.
he's a Jesus person to play that
I don't-
professor.
The man just paid him.
know.
Well, maybe he just needed the money.
Yeah, he was dying.
You can tell
he could actually believe in the evolution thing, but like, I want to at least represent the
you
side.
could
but-
also see him drinking like a handle of whiskey a night and needing some more money.
I mean, he didn't look that bad off.
His face is puffy.
He was very puffy, but in an old man way. I don't know. We're not presuming that he was a raging alcoholic. We're just saying he was probably a raging alcoholic.
No, scientific fact has proven that
He's
from
a raging alcoholic.
my observation, his puffy face, because that's how
He
science
doesn't
works
have
in this movie.
He's
by
old
the
enough
way.
that he would need to have like.
She has a master's in biology.
Well,
she
did you
can
notice
confirm.
that he has no broken blood vessels on his nose? That's unlikely.
Makeup.
Hey, she's right. Okay. So let's go ahead and start the breakdown.
Okay.
Obviously, I don't have any first impressions. I've seen this movie once before.
Why?
In the theater. Did you see it in the theater?
I did not see it in the theater.
Son of a bitch.
Why?
But I've seen it.
Kat, this entire podcast exists because this is what Josh
So this is
does
your hobby.
This is a hobby of
with
mine.
his free time.
So we open the movie to sappy music and a father-daughter walk to the local pond. She starts throwing stones with a boy person who is also there. And amongst the stones, she finds a $50 coin.
I think it's very significant that it was fucking JFK's face all in the middle center.
Do you
Why
think
was
this is
it-
like
Religious people hate JFK.
Yeah?
Yes.
because
they?
he's a Catholic?
Because he's Catholic.
the
All the
opposite.
crazy Baptist
Yeah.
people, like anytime they say JFK
Yeah.
or Jackie Kennedy, like their voices just go.
Catholics didn't really love him either, because even though, like, he got into office and he was a Catholic, like, he did everything wrong when it comes to, like, living a Catholic life.
I'm telling you, JFK coin was not a thing.
I feel like he probably did everything.
It could have been a quarter. It could have been $1. It could have been anything.
Even whatever year
but
this
it was
made.
like, and it was huge. It was like right center, and like the light was shining on it. There's a reason. Anyway,
right.
I just had to say that.
Well, the boy person in the salmon shirt pries it from her hands forcibly and walks away, glaring at her the whole time. We now cut to the girl, a young woman. Her name is Rachel, and she's headed off to college. Our main character, Dad.
Another Jeff Gordon-looking white motherfucker. He looks exactly like the guy from that one wrestling movie. Just square head.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, whatever.
He gives a pretty trite speech about how sad he is she's leaving. It's some...
Saccharine.
Why? By the way, why do they call it a going away to college party instead of a graduation party?
Yeah.
Maybe they already had that, and then it's like their second party.
Is that a second party?
Because it would happen about 2 or 3 months later, so... I guess it makes some sense.
I was like, no one has a going away party. That you've already done graduation like a month and a half before.
It's 2 or 3 months.
Everything bothered me.
Yes.
Everything bothered me.
She wears way too much makeup for hanging out at home.
When she's just chilling at home.
She's a teenager with perfect skin. She's gorgeous. And she's wearing heavy.
She looks like she watches hours of contouring videos every day on YouTube before she puts her makeup on.
And then she does a bad job.
So what we're saying is the best production in this movie is her makeup.
No, they did a terrible job. I could see everything.
No,
I could see every streak. Yeah, it was like every streak of blush.
This tells you what I know about makeup.
No, it was literally like there was a person, and like an inch away from that person there was a mask. Like it didn't even look like it was on her face.
I'm actually glad you saw that too, because I'm like, I was watching it on my...
It's so distracting.
I was watching it on my new TV. I'm like, maybe this wasn't meant to be seen in HD. You know, like, sometimes you see old movies on very new TVs, and you're like, whoa, I can see the layers of makeup. And you're like, I can see that person's pores, and they are not healthy. I didn't know if that was this case, but if you saw it on your laptop like that, then this is just terrible makeup.
She was wearing, like, what are those, like, plastic Japanese masks? They look like
Kabuki?
doll. Yeah, and like, but they kind of move with your lips a little bit.
Yeah,
you could,
really her lipstick was a little bit outside the lines. And she was wearing full lipstick, not like just like some Blistex or some like gloss. No, she woke like a normal teenager.
She woke up in full makeup,
right? Full creepy,
but
weird.
She loves Jesus and is very humble.
It was for Jesus.
Oh, Jesus likes you to look pretty.
Jesus wants you to be pretty girl, pretty girl.
It's like Christmas shoes.
Yeah,
you gotta make sure you have good shoes on when you get to the pearly gates. But he gives this
horrible speech.
Right.
Full of like predictable, horrible best man jokes. And everyone's like, ha 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 ha.
But while packing with Rachel, he slips a $50 bill into her Bible and she heads off to college. What?
First of all, she was packing in one hoodie and arrives to college in a complete outfit change.
Oh, I love you. I did not notice that.
Oh, no.
She changed in the car with her parents in the car.
I mean, it's like, this is my packing for college clothes, and this is my guiding to college clothes.
This is my impressing
which was a flannel shirt.
Right.
Which is no judgment, but why did you bother to change out your hoodie?
Yeah.
But she meets her roommate and goes to what is apparently her only class, biology. Because we don't see her in any other classes.
Also, her roommate is her. I was like, oh shit, we have a parent trap situation. She met her twin.
No.
They do look alike.
They look exactly alike. The only thing that's different is that she wears like a plain flannel shirt and the girl wears like a shirt with like a scarf around her neck.
The twin only wears something around her neck in every single scene, and that's the only way to differentiate them.
I have to assume it's like that old story about the girl who wears the ribbon around her neck.
Nope.
And when you take it off, her head falls off.
Yes! First thing I thought.
She's always wearing a scarf.
She is her twin. She is a ghost.
Did you read Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah. We all have the same psyche then.
Yes. My first thought was like, her head's going to fall off if that scarf comes off her body. And then the second thought was like, maybe this is Parent Trap and she just met her twin and she's actually not, like, her parents aren't her parents. This could be an interesting movie. No, none of those things.
I like that your brain was so desperate to make this movie more interesting that it came up with like all these scenarios.
I know. Sometimes I don't feel creative, and then sometimes I have moments like that. I'm like, maybe I am creative. I could write a better movie. It can still be about evolution.
Well, her biology class is taught by Marcus Kamen, who promises everybody a passing grade if you show up to class and seems generally gregarious and agreeable.
Yes.
Bullshit!
Harry Anderson.
The pass if you show up thing? Go ahead, Professor Cat. Tell us about it.
No, that kind of crap went out in the 60s and the 70s. You cannot pull that shit now.
Mm-hmm.
If someone showed up to my class every single day and failed their test, they fucking failed the class.
Yeah, that's a failure.
Yeah.
It does make it come
now,
across.
There are professors who are like, you know, if you show up in, like, this and this, like, you won't fail the class.
Yeah.
But, like, we're not even, like, allowed to do that crap. I mean, I could probably get away with it a couple of semesters until someone's tattled.
I feel like this is just only trying to, for the movie's sake, trying to feed into the idea that he's clearly full of propaganda.
Well, also,
like that he's in it not to teach kids, but to like manipulate.
Well,
them.
also,
it comes up later. Don't you worry. Yeah.
It's so clear that like all of their ideas about how a university works are like 30 years old because that's the last time that anyone who was involved in making this movie went to a university.
But after meeting Marcus Kamen, Rachel and roommate go to a party where we see a bunch of white girls. Because this is a Christian movie, and almost everybody on screen so far has been white.
I didn't see a single... there's only one black person.
In the whole movie, I think.
Whole movie.
In the whole... No Hispanics. No Asians.
No. Super whites and one black.
But a bunch of white girls seem to have muscle spasms, which I believe is their attempt at dancing.
I think they were trying to disco. Like I said, everyone's ideas are 30 years out of date.
Yes.
And they kept saying the student union. I'm like, no one goes to the student union except the international kids.
Yeah.
It's true. Also at this party, after the attempts at dance, Rachel meets Jason. Ladies, I would like you to tell me about Jason.
Oh,
like, what the fuck?
He looks like he crawled out of a rock.
Here's my first impression of Jason. I'm like, oh, this guy's got to get nowhere with this girl. I'm like, what a fucking dweeb. Like, he's the kind of guy who gets hired to play the dweeby guy who never gets the girl in movies. It is implied that he is like the ladies' man
a little bit.
Of this fucking college.
The next scene, I think.
Yeah.
Well,
they're like, he's the one who's like not into her because she didn't put out, and he's like, but he's doing it in this like whiny. He's like a pubescent Woody Allen.
Yep. Whole time, every time he talked or him and his friends talked was
What?
like, oh, to have the self-confidence of a mediocre white man.
Yes.
It was like, because
That is exactly
he had
it.
like some crappy like curls on his head.
Right.
And he was a mouth breather.
Yes.
And I'm like, no.
He's the kind of guy who talks about friend zones. And then her supermodel twin friend was like, I think he likes you. He's so cute. And all this. I'm like, what?
Better pick him up because he's not going to be single long.
Here's what I wrote down.
In real life, should have been like, bitch, you
are better.
Way below us. His stock is so low.
The only way this guy got hired is nepotism.
He's somebody's nephew.
Somebody's nephew or somebody's son. And they think very highly of him and his appearance, apparently.
Well, the next scene is back in biology class. And Professor Kamen goes over whether the chicken or the egg came first. And ultimately it's concluded that it's the egg because of the real answer, which is evolution.
Right.
No, this guy is the worst professor I've ever seen. In every single evolution example, did you hear the quotes?
Yeah.
Or I'm like, that's not an example of evolution.
No.
And that whole chicken for the egg thing is the lamest way to explain that we started off as single-celled organisms. Like, he made a very basic concept more conflicted and made it so that, like, people would feel, like, more like, wait, that's weird. Why would the egg come before the chicken? Like, it's like, no, that's not his point. I could kind of see how, like, someone make that point, but, like, that is the worst example. Like, everything he did was worst.
Yep. Also, it's almost as if this movie was written by somebody who knows nothing about science.
No, what they've done is read the evolution propaganda, like the first, like I said, I didn't know about this crap till I went to fucking college. And then I met people from OTP. Sorry, y'all, but it's true. And I was like, what are you talking about? And they're like, here. And they handed me like the little like evolution, like the whole like argument about like we're not coming from apes. And I was like, this is all fucking ludicrous.
Yeah, it's insanity.
It's just,
we'll get even more into that.
Now, I would probably say he's likely right. The first chicken probably came from the first chicken egg. It's just no one knew it was a chicken egg first.
Right.
It's just like she said. No?
Well, say something.
So what happens is it's single cell to multicell, and then you have a multicellular organism that would then start laying eggs.
Right.
And you have...
Eventually. But one of those eggs is a chicken that comes out of it.
That's what we mean. If we're talking about literally, we don't mean all eggs. We just mean what came first. The chicken, a chicken, or an egg that had a chicken in it. I would probably say it was an egg that had a chicken in it. It's just no one knew it ahead of time.
It was just like getting towards what the chicken we know today. Like, it was... And early versions of chickens
were dinosaurs.
Right.
Exactly.
But one of those dinosaur eggs.
When they thought, when they keep finding the feather fossils around the dinosaurs, are you getting excited?
They have so many colors.
I know.
They think they were so pretty.
Anyway.
But yeah, so it's not that it's a particularly wrong example. It's just unnecessary.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, that's like the worst.
No, and
like you're just that's like something that like is completely confusing the issue.
No, and the other astounding thing is that this is the first time she's ever heard what came first, the chicken or the egg. This is somebody who is legally an adult.
Yeah.
Who seems baffled that the idea of what came first, the chicken or the egg,
problem exists. And I'll bring this up later when we talk about dad character.
Yeah.
How the fuck is she a bio major?
No, right.
She obviously went to Jesus High School.
Right.
And you know.
She wants to be a pharmacist.
But that was the only thing that made sense. I was like, oh, you just want to be the smiling lady behind the counter dealing out pills for Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But Rachel, outside of class, is concerned because she knows that Pop would not agree with this answer. But her roommate points out that
Daddy isn't here.
Pops isn't here, but does leave unsaid that maybe she should just do her own thinking.
How dare she?
We are then introduced to one more significant character, Evan, who works for the student newspaper. Ladies, one more time.
Captain Neckbeard?
Please tell me about Evan and his soul patch.
I called him well-groomed Shaggy.
My name was Captain Neckbeard.
I like that too.
And his teeth were too big.
Well, he didn't have neckbeard though.
His teeth were big.
No, it was.
Wait. Are you talking about the one who was doing the free research, or the guy who was?
No, he had a chin strap.
No, free labor.
Chin strap. He had soul patch down to chin strap. Is that what you called it? Mm-hmm. Okay, his name is now Captain Chin Strap. I was calling it neckbeard because it was only underneath.
Neckbeard is where they don't groom it whatsoever, and it goes all the way down to their chest.
No. Neckbeard is like when they only have it here.
No. Neckbeard is when they it's all right here. When they have all their beard down here, and it's never been groomed up to be a beard.
He was groomed. It was a chin strap. Because it straps his chin, as you can see.
With that little tuft at the end, just like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
Oh, yeah, and a little tuft, you're right.
Yeah, he has a tuft underneath. Ugh, gross.
See, what are you doing? Because that looks good.
Yeah.
This is just I don't know.
That's actually the facial hair God gave him. That's all he can do.
That's all I got.
Yeah.
After meeting Evan, we see Jason tossing a football around with his friends because the Christiano Brothers went to the Wiseau School of Film. And it is known that men cannot have conversations without tossing a sports ball around.
Every single time they're touching something,
they're always throwing a ball.
Yeah,
yep.
and absolutely nothing about Jason says sports.
Flag football.
Yeah, he has a flag football party. The whitest thing I've ever heard.
Did you say? Flag football
party? We went to the wrong colleges. We could have been the queens of a college.
I just feel like I could have bilked them out of all their inheritances.
Yes.
But Jason is upset. He's talking about it with his friends because Rachel isn't putting out. And he's going to drop her.
They hung out once.
Oh, but she wanted to watch TV in the lounge. She wanted in his room.
That's right.
She's not going to be in a nice dark room watching TV so he can make a move.
Yeah, this guy is a virgin. The actor who plays
If he's not, he might be a rapist. So
no, definitely that.
Okay, so as we get into these guy scenes, I was so incensed they used the parallel of rape culture boys at college to represent the rest of us, the people who are not Christians.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, no. The only thing I agreed with is that boys are horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was the only thing I agreed with in this whole movie.
Especially college age.
Every daughter of mine will go to school knowing exactly how horrible these guys are and exactly what they'll try to do.
The next scene happens immediately. So it becomes clear that this is one of those movies where they have a lot of scenes, but not for a ton of reasons. Because Dad stops by Rachel's room and he breathes deeply. New scene.
By the way, how unhealthy is that?
Yeah.
But that's the thing. There's a new scene right after this because the last one was just so Dad could miss Rachel on screen. But in the new scene, Jason is convincing Rachel to play a prank on his friend, Tyler. One more time, because this is their meet cute, and this is another one of Rachel's possible paramours. Mm-hmm. Please tell me about Tyler.
My first reaction to Tyler was, this is the guy this girl accidentally fucks. That's the look that a girl like her would absolutely fall for.
Yeah.
No,
he's actually good looking.
No, he's good looking.
He could have actually played football.
He's a stock photo boy.
Mm-hmm. And she is a stock photo girl.
When you buy them.
No, I can see it. The dude's good looking.
Yeah, boringly so. Mm-hmm. And they're both so boring and so vanilla and so gross to me.
But he's got the blonde hair and it's sort of spiked in the middle only,
and
like a faux hawk.
I also don't trust blondes.
Yeah, I don't either.
Ever.
Also, I don't know what's going on in the set, but all of the boys walk like something is in their bottom at that moment. Have you noticed? Yes. They kind of waddle.
Yes,
like they have butt plugs in, every single one of them. And I'm not going to presume that the set was, that
was
like
their special
orgy.
underwear to keep away women.
They're not Mormons, Kat.
But that's okay. Other Christians can have special underwear if they want.
I mean, anyone can have special underwear. Is that
I have special underwear, but it's not for you.
I want to see your special underwear. Kat, have another cider. I know everything about you.
But she meets Tyler and they have a little meet cute where she cracks some eggs over his head as part of a prank.
A really lame prank.
Yeah, Professor...
At the same time, I was plotting like how I can pull that off.
Ugh, of course you were.
But in the next scene, Professor Kamen gets a phone call about what the next debate is going to be about, because the university has these debates. But he doesn't have any ideas yet. This is obviously going to come back up. In the next scene, again, these scenes are just constantly moving.
Yeah.
Rachel is lamenting to roommate that Jason implied they were just going to be friends, so she heads off to the library where she is convinced by Tyler to go to the next debate. They agree after that debate.
He actually flirts.
Yeah, he actually does a good job.
Yeah, he does a normal... He was smooth. He flirted well. Where Jason's like, no.
Would you like to touch my penis?
Hey, all the other girls
Did you know I have a penis?
Would you like to see it sometime?
No, he did the whole look at the board, see what's going on, go over, and then he did the really great line where he's like, hey, you cracked an egg over my head.
You
and
owe
I was
me.
like, hey, that's fair.
And that's quality.
Fair.
That was good flirting for a young person.
That was an actual good setup for a real relationship, except that he's a horrible person.
Right. One of the many.
Because boys suck.
Mm-hmm.
But
Josh.
That's fine. They go to the debate.
That's why you're special.
Thank you. They go to the debate. And
there's 4 people in the audience.
Mm-hmm.
They agree. Yeah, there's very few people. He told her, he was like, it's a thing. Everyone goes. It's a whole big thing. It's 4 people. He was totally just lying to her. But I think in a cute way rather than
it was in a cute way.
Yeah.
He was appealing to her interests because he's like, right. You seem like something you are studying all the time. Seems like this is something you would actually enjoy. Right. So it wasn't like trying to trick her into a dark alley.
Right.
He's just like,
no, it was a pretty innocent invite.
Because when they got to the debate, she was like, oh yeah, huge crowd. He's like, I know. Can't believe we got seats. So it's like a joke.
Glad we came early.
Yeah.
Right. Even though there's literally 7 people in the seats.
Tee-hee hair twirl.
Okay, so that kind of banter.
Yeah.
That's when I'm like, oh look, Hillary texted. She has a flat tire. Bye.
That's what you don't like?
No, I have 3 formulaic responses I've gotten from watching sitcoms. I'm like, yeah, go away.
Yeah.
But after the debate, they agree to another hang at a later date. But she heads off to visit her parents. On their way to church over the parent weekend, her Bible gets opened up, and Dad finds the 50 that he left there earlier in the movie.
His whore daughter has not even looked at this Bible.
She hasn't opened her Bible since she left for college.
And he takes it away and puts it in
because
his
it was a
pocket.
Test. Apparently,
I had notes. You only get money if you love. You only get money in a car if you love God, which was the first opening scene. Mm-hmm. And then he took the money away because she's adjusting well to academia.
Yeah.
And social lives.
Yeah. But they have a conversation about her classes. And again, he asks about her classes. She specifically only talks about biology because it's the one class that she has.
Right.
But this prompts him to do research about Professor Kamen. So
does this guy not have a job?
No,
he doesn't seem to.
No, when he was at work, all he was doing was talking about fucking church and his daughter going to university instead of Jesus College to somebody on the phone.
That's true. He did talk to somebody about that.
Yeah, like a spreadsheet on his desk, on his laptop.
Controlling his daughter is his job.
My alternate title to this movie was "Come Back to the Patriarchy."
I came up with an alternative title later.
Okay, sorry.
But Dad researches Professor Kamen, and he goes to complain to his pastor about the fact that the professor's an evolutionist, and Kamen's not even going to teach creationism as a plausible alternative in his biology class.
What?
He's going to do something about it, damn it.
Yeah, and here's my alternative title. Helicopter Parenting for Jesus.
Yours is better.
No, it's not.
But sub caption, Come Back to Patriarchy.
So this is the part that I'm sure Professor Cat here is going to be upset about. Because in the next scene, the film's professor, Kamen, uses a terrible example for evolution, using the increasing speed of humans in the Olympics as an example of how evolution works.
What does my note say, Josh?
Race times plus technology are terrible in, circled evolution examples. Nutrition plus industrial revolution.
Yes. That's why.
Right.
Those.
So he says.
Also, the invention of steroids. All these, performance enhancing.
No,
he mentions that in the 1898 Olympics, they ran or 1896 or whatever, they ran the mile in X amount of time.
Yeah.
And then 8 years later, they ran it faster.
Again,
and this is what people are doing as we evolve. We're getting faster and stronger and better.
Okay, and so you want to go first?
I was just going to say, again, because creationists are writing the part of the evolutionist. Mm-hmm. So they're coming up with the arguments that they think are the arguments that evolutionists would make. So zero research put into this storyline whatsoever. Pure propaganda.
Because the only thing they've read were evolution propaganda pamphlets.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. They didn't actually. They have no self-respecting, even
the Christianos are illiterate, is what we've learned.
Would ever use any of those as terrible they're terrible evolution examples. First of all, it's not evolution. Mm-hmm. It's industrial revolution and people having to eat for the first time in human history. Mm-hmm. And nitrogen fixing for fertilizer is why we're not all dead.
But this is what I say. So I am not a biologist by education or trade, but I know some biology. I know enough to know that any professor who told me this, I'd be like, Professor, you're a professional. You should know better than this. This is a really terrible example. You need to do better at your own job because this is not evolution.
If I ever heard
evolution doesn't happen in 6 years.
If I never heard another professor use that as an evolution example, I would get them fired.
Yeah. You should. They're terrible.
I would pull a Cayman. Yep. And fire a substandard professor. Mm-hmm. And sleep like a baby at night.
But in the library, in the next scene, while studying, Rachel finally meets Evan, who eavesdrops into her conversation and then uses the opportunity to say that Cayman's totally not right about evolution.
But he has some good ideas that make me think.
And he's like, he's not right. And he walks away real smug. He's the smuggest son of a bitch in the world.
He's so smug and so disabled mentally.
I want to grab him by the chin strap and bash his head in the wall.
Yeah. I want to pants him.
Dad and Mom decide to visit Rachel at college.
Because Dad is having anxiety issues that she's been away from his control for a whole 48 hours.
Yeah.
Dad uses this opportunity on campus to confront Cayman about his evolutionary ideas. Cayman is, I think, incredibly sensitive to Dad's ridiculous ideas, telling them that he should continue to absolutely believe whatever he wants.
Are you happy? Continue.
And he's just teaching science. He and Dad's like, but I don't want to just believe what I want. I want you to teach the thing that I believe.
Right.
And so Cayman does invite him to take part in the next university debate. Now, here comes the next scene, because Rachel comes into the office. She's like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm just talking to your professor about this evolution stuff.
It's called FERPA.
What's FERPA?
I legally cannot talk to any parent about their child's grades or education because they're over 18 and adults.
Yeah, this is where helicopter parenting is not allowed.
So you know what's really great?
Yeah.
Is if they try to contact me, I say, can't talk to you about it. They're 18.
So Rachel comes in the room. She says, Dad, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm trying to talk to your professor about this crazy evolution stuff.
To make you do.
And she's like, will you please stop this?
This can't be the first time that a parent showed up to this guy. There's no way.
By the way, I teach this class. I teach Introduction to Biology. Evolution is half an hour one day. And then we continue on to photosynthesis.
Yeah.
I don't spend weeks and weeks berating my students about evolution.
Right.
And I've had students who have written the correct answer on the test, what evolution means, and then said, but I don't believe about it because of my religion. And I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah.
I just need you to know what you need to know.
You said, this is what you told me, and I'm telling it back to you. I'm like, that is called a test. Good job. You get full credit.
Yeah.
So Rachel comes in. She says, Dad, what are you doing? He's like, I'm trying to talk to your professor about this stuff. So Cayman's like, well, if you're this passionate about it, why don't you come take place in our next debate? You can talk about this. I'll talk about my side. We'll hash it out in front of anybody.
This would be great. I need a debate subject. Here you are. You walked in. Do you have any idea how many responsibilities we have as professors?
Right. So in the next scene, Rachel is predictably and understandably, incredulous that Dad agreed to the debate.
Because it's embarrassing.
And Dad acts like Kamen drop-kicked him.
Yeah.
Like he punched him in the face and was like, you're gonna take place in this goddamn debate, boy!
You're an adult! You're an adult! Say no!
You're an adult. Also, you literally came to him at his job to challenge him.
And you weren't even, like, respectful about it. He was like, this evilness that you're preaching, I don't want you changing my daughter's mind.
Right.
I told her what to think.
Right.
How dare you tell her to think anything else? Because I've already told her what she needs to think for the rest of her life.
I own her. She's mine.
This is a real quote from Dad. This man obviously has no respect for God or anything that we believe in.
Yeah, probably.
This never happened. Ever.
No.
But now the gauntlet has been thrown, and Dad must defend the honor of his daughter. Acid attack. He's gonna throw acid in Kamen's face.
Female genital mutilation.
Yep.
You get it.
Here it comes.
He's gonna acid
Wait,
somebody
did you
in
think
this
something
room.
I said different from you? Let me chop your clitoris off.
That's right.
So, Evan is tasked to do a story on the debate.
Task is a very good word.
So he tracks down Rachel. He tries to convince her that her dad is not a ridiculous person, but she calls Dad anyway and tells him to cut the shit.
Yes.
He obviously refuses because he's our main character, and he's gonna go through with this debate. And he gets a call from Evan telling him about the story, and he convinces Dad to meet with Evan so that they can exchange information.
I'm a Christian. I'm on your side.
Exactly. That's what he says.
Yeah, I'm gonna bang your daughter in about 10 years.
When we get married.
After we get married.
But at the lake that they meet at, the pond from the beginning of the movie, Evan warns the dad that Kamen has great skill in debate and tells him that a colleague of Kamen's was fired over the same issue. Because their meeting place.
Some professor refused to teach a large part of their curriculum. So
Whoa,
they got fired.
he got fired. What a crazy thing.
Yeah, it was all Kamen. Fucking Kamen.
Are you not
just
teaching
basic academic
sections of the
integrity. But because their meeting is at the same lake from the first scene of the movie, Dad and Evan bond over the story where Rachel had $50 stolen from her, and how Dad used this opportunity to talk to her about Jesus, and thinks that this was the day she became a proper Christian.
Yeah, no, because it's okay when people do bad things to you because we'll just pray about it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like, don't snatch your money back or tell the dad that little boy stole your money or say anything to him. You should accept people shitting all over you.
You should.
Because you'll
here's
pray
why.
about it, and Jesus will make it better when you die.
Here's the thing. Ignore it, and then you get to be the better person and be smug as fuck.
Mm-hmm. Like Evan.
Like Evan.
He's not stopped being smug his whole life.
He's never, he does like one...
See,
well, I need another cider.
I'm having problems with this because I feel like I'm a pretty smug person, and I see this on other
you
people now.
You are not a smug person.
I feel smug inside my head.
Well, yeah, we all do.
Okay.
We're confident people, but we're also willing to admit that you don't know some things, and you're also willing to be like, I will listen to a good argument, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Dad gets home, and he calls Professor Portland, the former colleague of Kamen's who was fired for being a creationist.
And our token black guy.
Holy crap, a black guy. The only one.
So now it's a race thing, too.
He is reluctant to partake in any of this nonsense, and so he goes ahead and hangs up. Rachel calls Dad again to tell him to cut his crazy shit out, and finds out that he knows Evan. So she goes to yell at Evan for encouraging this ridiculous bullshit.
Oh, God.
He does some entry-level apologetic jujitsu. And they both leave the conversation unhappy. Dad goes to the fired guy, Professor Portland, to see him because he's gone so far as driving to the home of people who've expressly said they don't want to be involved. Yes. He said, "Don't bother me with this," and hangs up the phone, and Dad drives to his house.
Yes.
Dad is holier than thou, and Portland is a retired old vet. I'm out of the game.
The fuck with the game?
But the dad responds, a Christian is never out of the game.
What game?
I can assure you that I do not refer to teaching as a game.
No.
The game is the Christian game, I'll have you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of winning souls for Christ.
I'm so behind on that game.
He got fired once, years and years ago, and then now he doesn't preach anymore or try to spread his word.
Well,
so good. Good
he was
riddance.
preaching.
Yep.
Good
he wasn't
riddance.
teaching.
In another scene, Rachel is accosted by a guy from her class because everyone knows that her dad's the crazy guy who's going to debate Kamen. And the guy from her class mentions that Kamen uses an example that clearly shows that humans came from apes. I know, it's not actually accurate. You don't have to tell us, Kat.
Kat's doing the frustrated hair braiding that she does. This is how she calms herself. It's really pretty, by the way.
Oh my god, is this how I self-soothe? I didn't realize that.
It is how you self-soothe. While telling me stories, sometimes you do this, and when you're getting agitated.
But Evan valiantly and smugly swoops in and to rescue Rachel from these lies by asking the guy if his mother, grandmother, or great-grandmother looks like an ape.
This is the one where Smuggy McSmugface makes me want to fucking punch through my... I wanted to throw something at my television.
First of all, we didn't come from apes.
Right, that's not a thing.
Second of all, evolution takes more time than your great-grandmother.
Correct.
Or any documented history.
Okay.
No, but the Earth is only, 3,000 years old?
I'm pretty sure it's like 200 years old.
It's 6 to 10,000, by the way.
Since we started...
so you can go back a few generations and be like, hey, there's no...
No, the Earth didn't exist before America. Because America's the best and God's the best, so therefore they exist at the same time.
Right.
And everything else is Jewish propaganda.
I would like to make the final point. Because yes, no one says that people came from apes. No one who is educated in what evolution teaches says that people came from apes. 2, it takes a lot longer than 30, 40, 50 years to evolve.
Or 30, 40, 50 generations.
And 3, right, human generations. Does your mother look like an ape? Yes, motherfucker.
does.
We all look like apes. Have you seen a fucking ape?
Yep.
They look 100% like people.
No,
Does she
just
shave
furrier.
the majority of her body? Yes, like most women.
They look furrier than people,
Hey,
but they look like people.
Put on
Yeah,
a concerned
sure.
face, look concerned and contemplative, and you look like an ape.
100%. So Evan concludes this with, apes come from apes, and humans come from humans. And this is the best and most frustrating part of such colossal ignorance.
Yes.
Well,
Is the sheer smugness with which you can say absolutely absurd, demonstratively
because
false.
you know nothing. Professor Kamen's a horrible professor. He does not understand evolution and has given horrible examples of evolution. And also, his student, who went through his class, can't even break down the "does your grandma look like an ape" argument.
Right.
You were the worst professor ever.
Nobody in this movie actually represents evolutionists.
Nobody.
No.
But Evan then overhears Tyler's friends talking about how he plans to make his move at the flag football party. And he once again violently tries to rescue her from the other men in her life. Her boyfriend is going to try to have sex with her. The fucking horror! It is revealed that Tyler set up the meet cute, the egg cracking thing.
Well, yeah, of course.
So that he could get to know her because he thinks she's cute.
Yeah, this is how
He's also a slime ball who isn't actually interested in her as a person.
No, but also she doesn't have a lot to offer as a person.
Well, she
she doesn't have a personality.
Yeah.
Sorry, girl. All you are some big eyes and a vagina.
She's
I just wanna be
90%
clear.
torso.
He didn't have a deep soul bond with this girl who he'd literally never met, so now he's a piece of shit. It's like, how do you meet people?
Yeah, this
and
is
get to
literally
know them?
how you get to know them. Yeah.
Like, it's manipulative and it's weird, but it's not. It's not so bad.
It's not so bad, and it's very, and not to say it's right,
Yeah.
but this is exactly how things work when you're in your early 20s.
He had a friend who knew
You're
her.
18.
He was like, I want to
You
meet her.
want to bone a person.
Will you help us introduce ourselves?
Right.
You're 18. You have the functioning level of,
An ape.
I was going to say kelp, but
But it's just like,
plankton.
he's so upset about the fact that she has a kind of boyfriend who intends to have sex with her, which is what most relationships,
Yeah.
especially in college, head toward.
Right.
He did say she's one of the cutest freshmen you've seen.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, again, that's why you're interested in people. I mean,
Jason
I'm not
cannot do better
defending
than this
Tyler.
girl.
I'm just saying this idea that he's some sort of ridiculous monster.
He's not going to
because
slip. He's not going to slip a roofie or drink.
Right.
He's not some ridiculous monster because
He's
is
going
dating
to
a girl
try
and
to
then
make
he
a
wants
move on her because he thinks she's
He's
cute.
attracted to somebody, and he's
And
responding as such.
Right.
And that's normal.
Exactly.
And healthy.
completely normal and healthy.
And, if she says no, he'll probably be like, oh, wasting my time.
Yeah, he'll be upset about it, but he'll get over it.
Yeah.
He's not gonna be crazy.
And she'll have
He's
a better
not going to
understanding.
stalk her and cut her tires.
Right. And she's going to have a better understanding about how guys function and work.
Oh, boys just say nice things to you to get into your pants.
After being told about Tyler's plans to try to progress his relationship with her, she takes this opportunity to go back to her dorm, submit herself fully to Jesus, and calls Dad to apologize.
Okay, so my whole problem with that conversation, right, was he pulled her aside to tell her, hey, I think these guys are
Evan.
devious and, Evan pulls Rachel aside. And so then he spent the whole, like, for 3/4 of the conversation being like, by the way, evolution is a lie, and Jesus, and blah, 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 blah. And, like, he basically, like, just said a whole bunch of falsehoods.
Yeah. And
then she's on her way out the door because and he's like, I don't understand why you're not defending your dad. She's on her way out the door. He's like, wait, also, that guy is trying to get in your pants.
Yeah.
And she's like, you're just making this up. He's like, I would never lie to you. And I was like, you just did. You just lied to her for 5
You have
minutes.
only lied to her. This is not She's All That. They weren't making a bet about who can bang her first.
Right.
Like, this is not that kind. It's like, they're trying to play it like a teen movie where they're like, some major thing was being like, she's being manipulated in some huge way where like somebody's going to get in her pants and then win $100. Like, that's
nothing
not
like that happened.
He was
all.
He just thought she was cute.
Right.
And he wanted to have sex with her if possible.
Yes.
It's literally basic
a
stuff.
little smush face, at least something.
A little smush face.
Kisses over the clothes, whatever. Something like that.
We don't know what his end goal was.
He would be perfect. He's such a virgin. He'd be really excited about a hand job.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, also, the Bible says nothing about hand jobs or butt sex.
Nope.
You can hand job.
Nope.
Yeah.
That's how I'm just about prostitution and slavery.
It's this whole crazy notion that he's some sort of like crazy monster because he is in a relationship.
Slightly skeezy.
The only manipulative person here
They're
is
thinking
Evan.
with their dick.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's
thinking with their dick.
Evan's the one who's fucking trying to manipulate her.
Right.
And then lies to her and says, I don't want to lie to you.
But she apologizes to Dad. In the final class before the big debate, Rachel confronts Kamen in a pretty uninspiring fashion. She then breaks up with Tyler because she's going to live right by the Lord now.
And he seems genuinely like, what?
Yeah, he's like,
I like
what
you.
happened?
Like, what? Where's this even coming from?
And he goes to his friends and he goes, who said something?
Right.
Like, who fucked this up for me?
Right.
And they're like, no, us, man. And he's just like, he's upset.
Yeah.
But again, he's not like, I was going to take her to my dorm room and tie her up and put her in my closet and fuck her for days.
What am I going to do with these roofies now?
Yeah, he's just
spend
like,
good money.
He's just like, oh, shit.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
I was into you, and you just broke up with me out of literally nowhere.
Nowhere.
This sucks.
Yeah, she made him wait, like he was waiting for her, and then she's like, I can't hang out with you because Jesus. And then he's,
Oh, but my favorite was, I have to come right with the Lord, but I'll be glad to talk about it with you if you want.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not ready for this.
I'm late for my game.
Yeah. He's like, well, no, what he said was, I don't think I'm ready for that.
Yeah.
As if it were a thing that was like, he just has to be emotionally prepared for. Not a thing like, no, you crazy bitch. I don't want you, who can't even talk about the simplest of things, to preach to me. Ugh.
But we're on to the debate now. Dad's first point, because remember, this is Dad versus Kamen. Dad's first point is to mistake abiogenesis with evolution.
Oh.
And then claim that evolution is not scientific because science deals with what can be observed and reproduced through experimentation. Mm-hmm. Outside of being untrue on multiple levels, it is still a conflation of abiogenesis and evolution. Because he talks about how, evolution teaches that people came from rocks. No, it doesn't.
Did he say that? I don't remember that.
He didn't say it literally.
Okay, gotcha.
No, he said that life came from non-life.
Right.
And how is that even possible?
Nothing comes from nothing.
Well, true.
Nothing,
or something can't come from nothing.
Something can't come from nothing. Yeah. That's right.
Well, I like how he was like, well, we can't prove all of this theory, so then therefore none of it is relevant. It's like, no, well, that's why... okay, so...
If you can't prove it, then magic.
Can I have like a minute?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, because here's the thing. There's words that are used in common, just talking, and then, but when you use them in science, it means something completely different.
Theory.
Okay, what does metabolism mean to you?
Metabolism?
How fast you burn food.
Right, how fast you burn calories.
Right.
Metabolism is the sum equation of all chemical reactions within a cell. In science, we have it doesn't mean how fast you can burn goddamn calories.
Right.
Metabolism actually means this. That got changed into how fast you burn calories.
In the nomenclature.
Right. But it's the building reactions and the breaking down reactions all together. It's a sum, right? Mm-hmm. So like when you go to Science World and you visit Science Land, you have to use our fucking vocab.
Yeah.
Right.
And a theory is when we have a whole bunch of data and a whole bunch of fact to back up something. And so right now, this is our working theory. But no, we can never go back in time and prove this is exactly how evolution worked, but this is what we think. Pythagoras theorem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Pythagorean.
Right? What is that theorem? It's a squared plus b squared equals c squared.
Right.
Which means that every, hypotenuse of right angle is c squared equals a squared plus b squared. We still call that a fucking theory,
Right.
Because you can never prove that every single triangle has that equation.
Right.
But we build skyscrapers based on it.
Right.
Yeah.
We go to the moon
Right.
based on goddamn
a scientific theory.
Because still call it a theory because we cannot say that we can absolutely prove that every single triangle in the entire world or every angle actually.
I've had to explain this to my actual friends.
Yeah.
It's just a theory. But theory is not what you think it means.
Yes.
Yeah.
Theory is a real thing with real evidence.
You're using CID. I have a theory about the murder. That is not science theory. We have our own vocab.
Mm-hmm.
And no one bothers to learn it.
Yeah. Theory does not mean you had a dream about it and now you really think it might be true.
Right. No, a theory is a clearly and it's the highest thing.
Right.
If you can get to a theory,
It's the closest thing
brilliant.
you've gotten to truth so far.
Right.
You're open to more things. We
work
want more
with
information.
New information. We keep going. Like right now, this is our working theory. If something happened
Right.
to change that,
Mm-hmm.
we would change our theory.
Yeah.
Because that's what you do in science. You don't just say, hey, I have an idea from 2,000 years ago.
Right.
Gonna keep it forever.
Yeah, no.
And you know why? You know who's really glad that science doesn't work like that? Everybody. And if you don't like science, like evolution, you're not allowed to use aspirin.
No.
You can't have any antibiotics. And you can't have surgery.
Mm-mm.
Right.
Because we use changing ideas
Mm-hmm.
to do all these things. So fuck you. Go crawl out in the woods and die.
Yeah.
Pray to God, and maybe he'll cure your appendicitis.
So after Dad's opening, Kamen retaliates that the idea that God is the first cause of the universe is just wishful thinking that can never be proved. But evolution, experimentation, and research has demonstrated that non-living chemicals evolved into living organisms. Intelligence wasn't needed. The Earth is 4.5 billion years old, and fossils are millions and millions of years old, which is plenty of time for evolution or change.
Mm-hmm.
They can now do a crossfire. Kat, you had opinions, clearly.
Yes. Okay.
She's right.
I'm
Don't
gonna
draw on your pants.
I already braided my hair.
I know.
So here's the thing, and I'm going to bring it up now because it's going to come up later in the next guy's speech, that the whole life and laboratory experiment, because they keep saying these laboratory experiments, and of course the first thing you think of when someone says a laboratory experiments are like mice with tumors and cancer.
Mm-hmm.
First of all.
I was just seeing people put stuff into tubes and shake them.
That's exactly what I do every day.
I know.
They keep bringing this experiment up in the evolution laboratory experiment. Mm-hmm. In that experiment, what they did was they tried to mimic the best that we could figure out conditions on early Earth, like the atmosphere, the temperature, the everything, and they had just some random chemicals, and they basically just shot like electricity through it to see what happened, and they started making little biomolecules. They're like, hey guys, maybe this might be a possible explanation of how life started. We don't know, but it's a cool thing we did. All we did was put the right things together and shoot some electricity through it, and now we got some biomolecules that are now self-replicating and doing their own thing. Their whole argument was they proved, even the evolution professor, we proved the laboratory science is exactly how life started. I was like, no one in that experiment ever said that.
That's
why here's the thing.
No one points to that experiment and says, this experiment proves that this is how life started. We're just like, hey, here's a cool alternative. Look, it was possible that it could have been possible this way if this was the conditions and we did it and this happened.
Right. This is important, so we're going to cover it now. They keep saying life can't come from non-life. It happens multiple times. Except in the experiment they're citing. No one's claiming that's how actual life started.
Right.
But it's very clear that life can come from non-life. That's the whole point.
Right.
It doesn't matter if it's not exactly how this happened.
Exactly.
It's very clear that you can take inorganic compounds and get organic compounds. And that's pretty fucking impressive.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
It doesn't matter.
That's the only thing they said. That's the only thing they said.
That's the only thing they said.
I read that fucking paper years ago, and so I can't remember all the details, but evolution wasn't mentioned.
Right.
There was no propaganda.
So Dad asks, how do you explain away God? And Kamen thinks God was an invention of man, as Freud said.
Mm-hmm.
Dad doesn't accept this answer, but doesn't have a particularly good reason for rejecting it, except that he believes it.
All he said was that the Bible is trustworthy and it's a word of God. I see that over and over. It's trustworthy!
Freud is the only scientist of sorts that these people, the Christianos, have ever heard of.
Mm-hmm.
The only reference to to philosophy or theology or science or anything is Freud, and it gets used over. That is not the person
you
bring up talking about
anything.
anything really.
So Freud, the one thing that Freud actually kind of said kind of cool was maybe this, like, and basically he summed up what everyone else thinks is that we made up God because we're scared and cold.
Yeah, but he wasn't the first person.
Freud, no.
That goes back to BC. Like, you could go before Christ and people are like, maybe humans made up gods to feel better. Like, and it goes like from then to now. Like, there's always going to be a philosopher.
They also picked the guy who I have very little respect for. No one listens to Freud anymore.
Yeah, literally no one.
No, he screwed up entire generations with his bullshit because people listen to him. There's people walking around crazy on the street and bridges because of him.
Don't get me going on penis envy.
Yeah. All of that. Freudian slip.
But
gross.
Kamen begins to clearly win the exchange by asking pretty basic questions about the Bible and its reliability, but they are interrupted by the fired Professor Portland in the audience, who stands up and proclaims that Freud was wrong.
Well, and the best part about that response is this is like actual debate rules, and like we're not ready for a question from the audience.
He's like, it's okay, he's with me?
Yeah, Dad was like, it's okay, he's my friend. And I was like, that's not an official debate rule. You cannot be in a debate and be like, no, it's cool, he's my friend.
Yeah.
He can help, he can talk.
Yeah.
Like, that's not in a debate rule.
It's not.
But
it's not Parkinson's rule of order.
They ask Kamen if he's cool with it, and Kamen's like, sure, I guess so, whatever. These fuckers are crazy.
Because Kamen's like, okay.
Why not?
Sure, I already got him fired once.
I only know who Freud is.
So Portland takes over now.
So that's when he starts this whole life and laboratory experiment.
Mm-hmm. And he states that man didn't create God, and that if man had his way, he would eliminate God. He gives some silly speech on that whole subject.
Oh man, he takes the mic out of the stand. He walks around.
Oh yeah.
But he points that
soulful eyes to everybody.
Yeah.
He provides literally no evidence for anything he's talking about. But he then moves on. And he asserts that experiments have never proved organic life arose from inorganic material. They only showed that certain organic compounds could be formed from inorganic compound, and that intelligence was used to conduct and design the experiment. So he says, this thing never happened. Let me tell you how this thing fucking happened. Oh!
No.
I just want to hit him.
So his whole speech was basically like, science, 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 words for God. I'm like, yes, you said the word nucleus and chemicals.
Mm-hmm.
I put ex-professor has made 0 actual points.
Yes.
Not
it's
one
he's like,
single actual.
I said science words. I'm like, no, you're doing science Mad Libs right now. Like, you're talking about God, and you're putting in some science words here and there. Seriously.
Like, the point he's making...
God is enzymes. Like, I'm like, that. Nothing you say makes sense.
The point he is making is quite literally Kamen's point.
Yeah.
Because he's like, they never showed that life comes from non-life. They only showed that life comes from non-life. So outside of the tangent that someone designed the experiment, the fact that organic life came from inorganic material is quite literally the entire point of the experiment that he's talking about.
Yep.
It doesn't really matter that it's not exactly the way that life on Earth began to exist.
It's just like, hey,
it's just literal
happen.
Proof that you can take nitrogen and some
phosphorus
and stuff, and you can get stuff that's real organic material. It's not that hard to understand.
It's baking.
Oh, it's baking. Exactly.
Well, and because the compounds that make up your cell membrane, phospholipids, if you just literally take a test tube of phospholipids and you pour them in water, they arrange themselves in a circle. Like, it's just the way chemistry works. Yeah. And something got made, and then it started doing this, and then, like, it provided, like, a different environment, and it just happened. Just did.
It's okay.
Right.
And if God designed it, then he's very patient. Yeah. And he was bored one day.
And none of this is against God. God could have created that.
God could have done that. I don't know.
No, God could be a chemist.
Because when he goes back down to the, like, where do you think it started? The Big Bang or something? Like, question mark, exclamation.
Which has nothing to do with evolution, first off.
No.
And I was kind of like...
But it was a something from nothing.
The point where
it's a something from nothing argument.
My certainty, I'm like, dude, maybe there really was, like, a God somewhere, and he just, like, flipped a coin and was like, look, Big Bang, cool. Let's see what happens. Like, I don't know how the Big Bang happens. No one does.
Maybe we're, there's aliens playing with marbles, and we're
who knows?
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite Asimov stories.
Asimov stories?
Asimov. Isaac Asimov.
Oh, gotcha.
It's called Kindergarten.
I was referencing Men in Black.
So, Portland then begins to talk about this made-up creationist idea of kinds, where dogs always give birth to dogs, and so on. And if you ignore all of the known examples of speciation, you could probably believe this is a valid point. But let's be clear, this is a made-up distinction that creationists have just made up out of whole cloth about a kind. This is the thing you'll see if you ever follow this. It's dogs only give birth to dogs and birds only give birth to birds. And it's like, yeah, but like we've seen species become different species. It's not complicated. Yeah. And it just, you multiply that by 1,000 years.
Yep.
And look, you might have two things that are still maybe birds, but are pretty fucking different,
all
you
right,
fucking idiot.
All right, Jesus. Riddle me this. You have a donkey.
Yes.
And you have a horse.
Yes.
Do they look the same?
Mm-hmm.
No. Yes.
I mean
basically.
Vaguely the same, yeah.
Gotcha.
Right. Basically enough.
Yeah.
You mate them.
Mm-hmm.
They can give birth. You get a mule. Can mules have babies?
No.
All right.
Yeah, but the horses.
So next time someone asks me about my goddamn gom, I'm gonna get an ape. I'll be like, all right, tell me this.
Yeah, Zorses.
All right, this is what I wrote down was because
zebra horses.
Okay.
He also said he's like, all the fossil records discontinuous. I'm like, yeah, because shit happens in millions of years, and there's earthquakes, and not everything is made of fossils. And I'm like, but you just admitted there's a fossil record. Mm-hmm. You just used fossil record to support your argument.
Yep.
But
the carbon dating doesn't go into that.
Why? How can you admit there's fossils?
Radiometric.
Is that what it's called now?
It's a more broad term that
because
can be used in multiple circumstances. Carbon is only used for things that are like 40,000 years old or younger.
Yeah.
Well, I'm old, so that's the way I see it.
Well, we said carbon dating, but no, you use different isotopes of other things.
Yeah, obviously.
Carbon dating is only useful to a certain...
It's the isotope. Hillary is also a scientist.
Yes. But anyway...
But but then I wrote, and I said, dogs into dogs. I was like, yes, good job. Dogs only give birth to dogs. Like, you are such a scientist. Here is your doctorate.
Yep.
And then he goes on to make some random assertions, and then he literally admits to not wanting to talk about the technical definitions because it can go on and on and on.
Yes, that's the best way to argue
why
something.
Explain what all the words mean to people?
When you could just...
Just
believe me. We don't need to get into it.
To be fair, in the very next sentence,
sometimes I feel like I say that in class. I'm like, come on, guys, just go with me.
He instead says that neither side can prove their side is true, so it's down to a matter of faith.
Honestly.
Oh my god, it's the name of the movie!
It all happened.
I have to say, like, when that one sentence in the entire, like, as an objective, like, rational person, when he was like, well, we can't prove that evolution's true, we can't prove that God's true, so they're kind of the same. I was like, like objectively, I'm like, yeah, I can,
see,
you're right.
That's the only argument.
I'm getting to this. Because equivocation is a really convenient turnaround when it helps them. And then he gives a bit
not that I wouldn't argue back about facts and everything else. But I'm like, okay, well, that's why it's still called a theory.
Oh, it's in my notes. We're gonna get in there.
All right, equivocation, go.
But he then gives a personal speech. He finishes it out, says no one can prove anything here tonight, professes his love of Jesus, and cries a little bit. And I guess...
and then forgives the other guy for his bitterness.
Yes. All right, so I want to be really clear about what happened.
Yes.
A man, Dad, was failing miserably in debating an actual scientist.
Yes.
So he tagged in a disgraced professor who came on stage and said, fuck the science, and preached instead. Then fled the stage after getting teary-eyed.
And forgiving his person he's mad at.
Right. And I know that it seems like an unsatisfying conclusion, but here's the thing. It is not. The Christiano Brothers, in their very script, are aware that they cannot actually win the argument. So they hope to convince the viewing audience that both sides are dumb bullshit because they think the emotional manipulation of their religion will win people over to their side.
It will.
This is not right. This is not just poor movie making. It is insidious propaganda.
Yes.
The idea that it's a matter of faith and you just got to choose a side, it's bullshit. And it works. It is not just a matter of faith. One side has actual facts, proof, evidence, science on the side. The other side has, but Jesus.
Yeah, but...
This is not close. Well, it's not fair.
No,
these are not on the same ground.
It is not equal.
And that's why I say it's propaganda. They just want to convince you that you have to take a leap.
Can you imagine?
And you don't have to take a leap.
Imagine being a child growing up in a family that restricts the media that the child can imbibe, and this is like their idea of a movie. This is the idea that a child could only be allowed to see this type of movie. I grew up with kids whose parents will only let them watch these kinds of movies. They had to be like Christian themed movies,
right?
Yeah.
Well, the only thing this thing
serves
to...
A girl couldn't come to my party because of Hocus Pocus, because there was witchcraft. There was a girl in my neighborhood who wasn't allowed to my birthday party. Yeah. And I was like, oh, and like, me as a 12-year-old was like, that's fucked up.
This is why I'm talking about. It's his basic equivocation.
Yeah.
They're pretending that one thing, which is ridiculous, and another thing, which has actual facts on its side, are the same thing.
Yeah.
Because if they can just poison the well enough
to
make you think that both sides are a matter of faith, then they can prove their point. And they're fucking lying to you. They're lying to their audience, they're lying to themselves, they're lying to everybody.
The only thing the thing to me is like the only people this is going to convince are people who have already been brainwashed as children.
Yeah, it's a
so like this will just give them like more arguments for when people try to make them think with their brain cells.
But you did say yourself when the professor was saying.
No, I'm just saying like, well, because
they both take a matter of faith. It's kind of convincing. That's my point. They're trying to convince you. They're lying to you.
Yeah.
What it is I was like, okay, I can, you know, it's I hate it. I hate being really rational. Objective.
It would be so fun to be like, I choose this and I refuse to think about it ever again.
Thank you. No, but I can't. That's not how my brain works. That's not how anything works in my brain. And I was like, okay, I could see like that if you didn't understand the facts and all you knew was that this is one idea and this is my idea. But I'm with you because I was very insulted when he said they're both a matter of faith.
Yeah. Now we're on to the final scene of the film.
Oh, right.
Oh,
my God.
I couldn't watch this whole thing. I'm so sorry.
You didn't watch the last scene?
No, I got to the point where the tree... And he was like, remember this scene? And I was like, I can't.
That was it. That's the end of the movie.
Yeah, I couldn't. I was like, they're going to they're going to get on their knees, start praying, or they're going to hold hands and sing to Jesus.
Are you ready?
Yes. Evan is revealed to be the boy who stole the $50 from Rachel in the very beginning of the movie.
No! No!
And his dad used his stealing as an opportunity to tell him about Jesus.
They both learned about Jesus the same day, Kat. They're soulmates.
And they're going to fuck each other's brains out probably in a few years.
No, but in the butt.
But only in a few years after they get married, because that's the proper way to fuck each other's
brains out. And then she'll have a lifetime of guilt and shame because every time she walks into church, everyone knows she's not a virgin anymore. And so that's the only value.
But she's married.
They're going to wait until they get married.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Do you have any idea how many people? Because like their whole lives they're dads.
Mm-hmm.
Like people who should not be that interested in your sex life.
Yeah.
Your uncles and your grandparents are like, oh, here's your promise to Jesus thing. And then they get married and then they go to honeymoon and they come back to church and like everyone knows I've had sex and how shameful they feel.
Mm-hmm.
It's so fucked up.
He's the
one who stole the $50.
So his fucking Jesus dad was like, you stole this JFK coin. Yeah. Go give it back to that little girl and then we'll pray.
He didn't tell her to give it back. He just told him about how stealing is wrong and Jesus and sin and stuff.
Right. Once again, you can do whatever the fuck you want because Jesus will forgive you. You know what?
Which,
I'm
by the way,
become a Christian.
Honey,
I think I actually live a lot.
I'm saved. Did you know that?
Oh, right. And so you're okay.
And I asked them when I got saved, I'm like, so this means no matter what the fuck I do, I didn't say that word, but I'm like, so what? No matter what, now I'm definitely going to heaven. I'm like, if I murder someone, being saved right now means I'm covered. They're like, yes. I'm like, okay. Like, it was like, I was 14 or 15. I'm like, okay. All right.
Cool.
Your very logical brain said, you know what? I will take this.
Why not cover the space?
Well, the difference with me, dummies. It was that I was never baptized.
I wasn't baptized either.
Because my mom grew up Church of Christ, which is like you choose, like as a kid or whenever you choose to become baptized. Like they don't believe that like your parents make that choice for you, which I'm actually like, that's groovy.
That's right. Yeah. Like
don't just assume for a 3-year-old infant. So my mom never had us baptized. And so I didn't get baptized till senior year. And
so now you're good.
Right. But I literally got baptized Sunday, the first Sunday of spring break, and then I went to senior spring break. Did ecstasy and drank a lot, but it didn't. I was like, I don't think Jesus cares about drinking and doing ecstasy, my friends.
He already forgave me.
Well, it's not even that. I was like, Jesus don't give no shits about this kind of crap.
No,
because that's the Jesus I grew up with.
The first post movie conversation I want to have is: can we talk about how Rachel is barely a character?
No,
despite ostensibly being the main character,
could have actually been a puppet. That they could have like stapled some felt together.
Oh my God.
It would have had the same effect.
That reminds me of my favorite plays. And in the first act, the daughter of the family, because daughters don't matter, was literally played by a doll.
That's funny.
And when they were talking about the doll, the daughter, they would just throw it from character to character.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because she's just a doll.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
For all the real characters,
useless.
the men, to react to and
react to the patriarchy.
She is a human sponge, and everybody's fighting to be the liquid filling her.
Ugh.
Yeah. It is sexual. That's right.
It is, though.
Yeah.
Because Daddy wants to get in there.
She's a dry-ass sponge, and her dad's like, I've been filling her for years.
No one else can fill her.
Yeah.
I know. Who else was also
gross.
nothing?
It's gross.
Was Mom. Mom was nothing.
Mom was nothing.
We saw her twice. We saw her reacting twice.
Yeah.
Mom, at one time she was in the audience nodding. But Mom was literally there to have someone for Dad to talk to.
Yep.
He could have had a Cocker Spaniel.
There are no women in this movie.
Would have been the same thing.
There are two girls who look exactly the same. There are no women in this movie.
Yeah, and the roommate's just there.
It is men fighting around attractive women
Yep.
with too much makeup on.
Yep. All right. Now, it's time for our conclusion.
Okay.
What's the best and what's the worst of this movie?
It was actually really well shot.
Okay.
That was a movie with some money.
No, it was I wasn't bothered by camera angles or jerkiness, and
the editing was.
They did
fine.
a really good job of this person in the library, this person in the library. I was disturbed because of how much money does the Jesus freaks have?
Yeah, the plot did work, meaning it goes from beginning to end.
A story.
Yes, it was a story that was easy to follow, that wasn't convoluted.
It wasn't Left Behind where there's no story.
That's true.
Yeah, it was just all over the place. Yeah, and they also didn't attempt any kind of CG in this, which I appreciate.
And what's the worst?
Go, Cat.
Everything else.
Yeah.
All of the evolution stuff.
Do you have
anything closely brushing up against science?
Mm-hmm.
Because I refuse to. There's any science in this movie.
No, there's no.
It's once again, it's science Mad Libs. They use science words. They're like science word, nucleus, DNA. Which, that's why I was groaning and yelling the whole time. And then the painful love interest story that wasn't even a thing. It was very reminiscent of Hallmark movies, the after school specials.
It's the exact same quality of those.
Yeah, no, it was literally like when I watched about bulimia one time. It was the same level of everything else.
Yeah, over dramatized, no research, no understanding,
way too much music.
Is that your same choice for worst?
Yeah, probably worst for me would be that how blatantly obvious it was that it was written by people with no science understanding. Mm-hmm. If they had tried to present a movie where they actually had a real debate.
Yeah.
Where they showed both sides. And even that, a real debate could still end in it's a matter of faith. Mm-hmm. And that's a good argument.
An actual real debate would have been really
interesting to watch. An actual real debate where real science gets used and the side of the... the side of the evolutionists actually was represented. Mm-hmm. And it could still end and push your agenda to say, that's okay. Again, that's a theory. That's your theory. All of that's fine. But when it comes to religion and my belief or whatever, it's a matter of faith.
Actually,
that would have been a great fucking movie.
This would have been a really good movie if they had bothered to learn anything of the science, and if they'd had a real, like you said, a real debate about creationism. A real.
There are real debates. They've happened. Yeah.
There are people, and that's why I understand why some very intelligent people haven't swayed. I'm like, no, that was actually really well argued and reasoned.
Yeah.
I don't agree with it because it's all hocus pocus. But speaking of hocus pocus, but
yeah,
I get why someone who maybe wasn't conversant in anything else could have gotten swayed. Like an intelligent person, not just
right.
Because it's so many times that's what drives me nuts. People are like, oh, well, if you believe in this, then you're dumb and stupid. I'm like, no,
no, that's the thing.
That's the problem.
That's the difference between belief and knowledge.
Yes.
Go on.
So the best, I think, in this movie is...
Oh, yeah, you're best and worst.
What's the best? The best is gonna have to be the production quality.
Oh, my God.
Because there's almost nothing else here that's good. The worst is Evan's entire character and personality. I would immediately punch him in the face after meeting him.
He's the most puntable human I've ever met.
He's so annoying. Yeah. His ape thing?
No.
Oh my God. The guy in the...
I've met guys like that.
The guy in the scene...
Who think they're being smart, but they're really being stupid.
I know.
And and I just get too frustrated to be able to actually argue.
I know.
You're saying dumb things, and I can't argue with you.
Because there's no point, because you say smart, rational, logical facts, right. And they're like, ugh, your moms are ape.
Okay. The guy in the scene is like, watch it, man, because he called his mom an ape.
Yeah.
But I would be like, watch it, man, you're being really stupid, I'm gonna fucking kick you.
Yeah. I was like...
No, that guy crumbled, and that was...
I'm not offended. I just want to hit you because you're being fucking stupid.
Yeah. Professor Kamen being a horrible professor.
Yeah.
If this kid sat through my class, he would be able to argue when someone said...
Yeah. Does your mom look an ape?
Right. And the Evan character is somebody that exists in real life that I've come across. I'm like, it's because you've grown up on movies like this and being taught things like this that you think you could be that smug and dicky and that's enough of an argument.
Yep.
And the thing is, they get destroyed
of a mediocre white man.
They get so destroyed in real life. Like, I've witnessed
That's why they have to
decimated
stay in their little, because they literally venture
Right.
out. They talk to people like us for a couple
Right.
times, and they go running back to their island.
Right.
And only
the
talk to
reaction is
people in
not
church
think
again.
about it. The reaction is
Wounded puppy.
pull back,
Wounded
go
puppy.
back to the shadows. Yeah, with
They're
your,
like, oh, I can't be here anymore. I can't. Hey, oh, drinking's
Josh,
bad.
what's your worst? We can.
No,
That
he
was
said
my worst.
Evan.
That was your worst. Oh, I thought. Okay.
Evan's the worst.
Yes, you're right.
Next time, we're putting ourselves through hell for you people. And that should be a pun, and maybe one day I will use it as one, but it's not today.
Okay.
This is a metaphorical hell. Hillary hates our lead actor,
Oh no.
and I hate the entire genre.
Okay.
That's right. We're doing Jesus Christ Superstar,
Oh, God damn it. Oh, fuck.
starring John Legend,
I hate this so much.
Sarah Barry Ellis, and Brandon Victor Dixon.
I know we talked about doing this in the future. I did not realize it would be so soon. I'm not ready.
Jesus Christ Superstar is the NBC version. It's part of a recent trend of live-action network TV musicals.
All garbage, never a good idea.
New York Times concludes their review of this show with, "But from the multicultural cast to its deconstruction of religious iconography, this Jesus Christ Superstar was as thoughtful and challenging as the show has ever been." Variety
Which says nothing.
reviewed the same show and said, if its philosophy could be summed up in one word, excess would just about cover it.
Yeah.
While also saying that it was ultimately a mixed bag.
They've never had success. I don't know how much money they're getting from these things, which makes them want to keep doing it. But they're all terrible.
It's on Hulu, by the way. You can watch Jesus Christ Superstar
Hey.
on Hulu.
Suffer with us.
Suffer with us. It's 2.5 hours long.
Let's get closer. Closer in our pain.
But lastly, the Vulture review can be summed up in just the headline. NBC's Jesus Christ Superstar set a new standard for live musicals. Which is good. So join us next week as we watch, on an obvious delay, Jesus Christ Superstar live.
Yes.
I'm assuming they took out the live at this
We'll just
point.
pretend it's Easter.
Right. And remember, as always, if you like the show, please give us some of those 5-star reviews in whatever podcast app or service you are using, and tell your friends about us. Send a link, share a social media post, sit them down and put it into their iTunes yourself.
Yes. All good things. Only please. We love you.
Don't forget...
We love you. Please love us.
We love you, please love us.
Yeah.
Survivors. Because we're on Noah's Ark.
No.
Don't forget, we do have a website at noahsnarkpodcast.com. On that website, you can find all of our episodes as well as links to our social media, which I have also included in the description of this episode. Go to the website and send us a comment or a question so we can have a mailbag segment. That's all I want,
Yeah. Do anything.
because we will cover it.
Yeah.
We
totally.
will read whatever you send us.
Within reason.
I'm not even saying within reason. I will do it.
Josh will do it. I don't trust y'all.
As always, thanks for listening.
Thank you so much.
Bye.